Welcome back to HockeyCast. Leafs Oilers on a Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. There was a lot of game within the game action. We're going to unpack a lot of that. Leafs win 7-4. Let's talk about it. Welcome back. The Leafs come out in the first and they score, but the Oilers quickly tie it up. They responded in quick succession. It looked like Murray was a little rusty throughout the game, especially in the first. But it was his first appearance in about 2 months, I think. So, a little bit of rust was expected, and then it went back and forth in the first, trading chances here and there. Pretty tight checking game. The second period, there was a lot of 4-on-4 action. It's like the refs, and this happened both ways. Both teams were upset. Both teams' coaches were upset about this, in that the initial play or the initial infraction wasn't called, but when the retaliation happened, they were both called. So it was getting really frustrating because this happened at least 3 times in this game, and it was very frustrating to watch, and everyone's trying to figure out what the initial call was when the retaliation happened. It was kind of strange that way, and it was though the refs didn't want a power play going either way. So there was a lot of that, but in the third, as we'll get to, there was quite a few power plays going both ways. So, for example, Matthews got slashed. I don't know if he kind of pushed him. McDavid and Matthews get an unsportsmanlike. So it was really strange, some of the calls tonight. And then Bunting and McLeod, they get one each for embellishment, or Bunting got one for embellishment, and McLeod got one, I think, for slashing or hooking. I'm not sure. But with Bunting, he hasn't got a call go his way in about a month, compared to how many infractions he takes. But I think they're trying to, teach him a lesson, basically, as he's drawn a lot of calls earlier in the season, embellished quite a few himself. So they're still reluctant to call anything when it involves Bunting. And Mitch Marner, with another highlight reel goal tonight. And he does it a different way every night. It's unbelievable, the hands on this guy in the vision that he has. And you can't even think about some of these goals the way it happens. He just reacts. It was amazing watching him pot that goal in the second period. He was right in on the goaltender, and it was just him and the goalie. And it looked like he was running out of space, just changed direction completely, pulled it around. You thought the play was dead, but he made something out of it and ended up getting it over the goalie and into the net. It was unbelievable. And he's been doing that quite often lately. Hopefully that continues in the playoffs. So in about the midway through the second, the Oilers were dominating. I guess Keefe, he was messing with the lines the first period and a half, trying different combinations and just basically seeing what he has and what works, what doesn't work, trying different things with the offense and defense. But I guess he got fed up with being embarrassed, and all of a sudden you had Matthews and Tavares scoring the go-ahead goal. You had Matthews, Marner, and Nylander together, and they come through for 2. So, about halfway through the second, that's when Keefe kind of scrapped the line juggling. But in his defense, you have to try those things because you just brought in 7 new players, and you're trying to make them fit with your team. But before you can do that, you have to know what they bring and how they work with your team. Because if you don't try it now, it's too late when it gets to the playoffs. So it's better to try a lot of things now and throw a lot of things against the wall and see what sticks. And there's been a few times where he had different combinations and different situations that really worked well. With O'Reilly, I know he's out right now, but being so dominant in the faceoff circle, that was unexpected because he was originally going to head his own line, third line center. But as he was getting acclimatized to the team, they brought him in and put him on the second and put Tavares on the wing. And it has been working like a gem, especially in the faceoff circle. So I don't know if they're going to hang on to that, but it would be a good combination that you can rely on in a close series that could make the difference. So the way they keep trying different combinations, I'm not too worried about it right now. Like other fans and even, people that follow the team that don't really like the team, they're kind of complaining about every single game, about every single period, and, kind of mocking the team when they lose. But right now, it's all about seeing what you have in the different situations that can be handled with different line combinations. And if you don't try it, well, then you really won't know what you have when it comes down to it. So I'm not concerned now, but when you get to the last 3 or 5 games, that's when you want to really settle in and solidify your lines. And that's how it's going to be going into the playoffs. That way, everybody can really get climatized to each other, their habits, their plays moving forward. And you can kind of read each other and kind of be in the proper spots in certain situations without even having to talk much. So that way, the speed of the game increases, and it looks phenomenal. And I know they have that in them because I've seen it earlier in the season, where they just completely went out there and crushed their competition. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's exactly what I'm expecting for the last 3 to 5 games and moving into the playoffs, barring any serious injury, as we saw tonight with Steven Stamkos. So hopefully he's okay. It could be a season-ending injury. We don't know. We don't know the extent of the injury, but it has something to do with his knee, I think. I don't really know too much about that, but I really hate to see when other players are getting hurt. We're going to be battling Tampa, and we want to do it with their best players healthy. That way, there's no complaining about, later on when the Leafs beat Tampa. And yes, I'm saying it, the Leafs are going to beat Tampa in the first round this year. They took them to 7 last year, and Tampa went all the way to the finals. They were the only team to take Tampa to 7. So I think the Leafs with the new additions this year, once they get settled in and get used to the way the Leafs play the team game, I think everything's going to work out just fine. So McCabe, he's really stepped up tonight with a few good neutral ice hits, and that really stood up a few players and made them think later on into the game when they're going deep into the corners. And so that was good to see there. He's starting to get used to the team. He's getting more comfortable. You can tell because he's stepping up a bit on those plays, and other players are covering for him as he lays those big hits in the neutral zone, which is fantastic. It's something that you definitely need as part of the team. It just gives your opponent something to think about. It was also good to see that Kane, there was a play going on in the Oilers' end, and Skinner had saved it and covered the puck. But there was a bit of a scuffle in front of the net, and there's a bit of a pushing match. And then finally, Kane came in and just grabbed somebody and started ripping them out of the group. And it was McCabe. And I think once Kane realized that, he was hanging on for dear life, tying up McCabe. And I don't, he definitely didn't want to trade punches or even let him nowhere near being able to get his hands free. He really tied him up on that. And that was funny to see, because Kane had been running around pretty much for at least, a good portion of the night, if not just about half the night, running players and really getting under their skin and giving them shots from behind, or just, those annoying plays that players do. Not quite enough for a penalty or interference, but enough to annoy you or to just, it hurts a little bit and distracts you. So I want to talk for a second on the Nurse penalty in the third period, where he was complaining that it was the follow through. And even his coach was saying it was on the follow through. But if you look back on the play, and the referee was right there, he saw it, and it was after the follow through. And then his stick came up again for a second time, and that's when it clipped him in the face. I can't remember who that was on. Was it on Bunting? I'm pretty sure it might have been on Bunting. But Nurse got the penalty for that. And then when Bunting and Kane got tied up again, it was kind of a first that I've seen, and I can't really remember this ever happening before, but seeing a 4-on-4, 4-minute power play. Well, it wasn't a power play, it was a 4-on-4, but a 4-minute 4-on-4. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Usually it's just a 2-minute minor, but it was a double minor for both players as they were wrestling back and forth coming into the offensive zone, or the Oilers zone. It was really strange to see. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Write your comment below if you've ever seen that happen before, where it's been a double minor 4-on-4 play. But it really opened things up. And Achari, the one highlight there, he did score, but before that, he escaped disaster. When he went in, got interfered with, got tripped up. His helmet came off as he was falling to the ice and flying through the crease, and just missed the goalpost in the Oilers' end and went crashing into the boards. And that could have ended really badly for him and for the Leafs if he would have hit the post without a helmet on. That was just a nightmare waiting to happen. It just happened so quickly, and you could see it, and it was just like, man, he escaped disaster big time. And then after that, he had scored later on. And then the Leafs had a couple of power plays, and Marner, Tavares, and Matthews, they just make the power play look so easy with their tic-tac-toe play, and spread the defense out, or spread the 4-man coverage out. It's just amazing, where they started at the top of the blue line there on the point, and then pass it around to behind the net. And as soon as he gets behind the net, it's a quick pass out in front, and it's in the back of the net, just like that. So it's really good to see that they're utilizing a lot of the players on the ice, and considering the defending players, they only have 4 players, so they can't cover everybody, and they're not covering up the lanes, so they're going to take them. And it's kind of hard to cover the lanes when you got the players situated the way the Leafs have for their power play once they get set up. It's really hard to defend, and you really have to cover the guy in front of the net. But they're trying to take away point shots and other lane passes that are around the net as well. So it's really hard to defend that. So it worked really good tonight. In the middle of the third, Murray came up huge with a couple of big saves, cross crease, and it's awkward. He makes awkward saves sometimes, and it looks painful. I'm thinking every save he makes that's down low, he looks like he's hurt. I don't know if that's just me or if that's just the way he plays, but he's a big goalie. But when he really stretches out there, it looks like he gets hurt, and I'm just waiting and watching to see if he's hurt or not. And of course, with his history and everything, you're hoping that he's staying healthy and isn't getting hurt. But every play like that, it just looks so awkward, and it looks like he's going to get hurt. So overall, Great game by the Leafs. And even the Oilers had a good game in the start of it. The first period, they exchanged goals, and the Oilers had responded quite quickly. And then in the second, it seemed like the Oilers just took it over in the first part of the second period and just started really taking it to the Leafs. And I thought it was game over. I thought it was done. But then again, Keefe put the lines back to the way he's used to and the way the players are comfortable with. And all of a sudden, they just got some chances. They developed chances, and they were in the back of the net. And it was in quick succession. So it was impressive to see the quick comeback. They had something like 4 or 5 goals in a row unanswered before the Oilers scored again. But the final score ended up being 7-4 for the Leafs, which is a result that I never would have expected after the first period. That's it for this one. If you want to see more videos like this, you can watch the next video over here. I believe it's going to be over here or over here. If you enjoyed this content, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so that way you get notified every time I create a new video. I appreciate you, and thanks for watching.